Hello, algebra students. Today we are going to be working on getting equations to look like slope-intercept form. We've talked about slope-intercept form in terms of knowing if an equation will be linear or not. You've worked with slope-intercept form in the past, but what we're going to really focus on today is changing equations that are in just any kind of random form into slope-intercept form. So when we look at slope-intercept form, it should look like this, right? We should get the y all by itself on the left side of the equal sign. Right after the equal sign, we'll have the thing with the x, and then at the very end, we'll have the b, which is the constant, the regular number that's all by itself. So in number 1, and by the way, this worksheet that you're doing today is exactly what I'm doing in this video. So you should be doing your worksheet along with the video today. When we start with our distribution right here, we'll have y plus 8 equals 3x plus 6. Now, when we do that, now that the distribution's all done and all of our parentheses are gone, the only thing that we have left is this 8 that's with the y. So we would want to subtract the 8. And I would be careful where you write it. I wouldn't write it underneath the 3x because it doesn't go with the 3x. It goes with the 6 that we have over here. So we're going to have y equals 3x minus 2. In number 2, when we distribute a 1/2, first of all, remember 1/2, when we multiply by 1/2, it's just like dividing by 2. So finding half of a number is not a big deal. 1/2 times x is just going to be 1/2 x. And a half of 4 is 2. I know that some people see that fraction in front of the variable and they worry a little bit, but remember, this is slope-intercept form. That's going to be the slope number, and slope is often written as a fraction. So we're not worried about that. We just need to get rid of this 5. So I can have y equals 1/2 x plus 7. Number 3, we need to get the y by itself again. I would say if you're making mistakes sometimes with negatives, I would change this with a keep, change. Sometimes people see the subtraction and they think, well, to get rid of subtraction, I'm going to add. So they would add 16x to both sides, but it's already a positive 16x. I really need to subtract 16x from both sides. So I have a negative 4y. Now, I would say, again, a very common mistake that I see here is people want to put 8 minus 16x would be negative 8x. But remember that 8x, the 8 at the beginning doesn't have an x with it. It's just a number. So this should be written with the x thing first. So negative 16x plus 8. Now, I don't want negative 4y. I just want y. So everything has to be divided by negative 4. And I would suggest also that we do this as separate divisions for each of these. So negative 16 divided by negative 4 is going to be a positive 4x. 8 divided by negative 4 is a negative 2. So you could say plus a negative 2, or you can just say minus 2. Number 4, distributing again with a fraction. I know that that worries some people. I also notice that the y is on the right-hand side of the equal sign. No big deal. We'll flip that around at the very end. When I do my distribution here, I'm going to have a 2/3 x minus, you can do this on your calculator, 2/3 times 12. Or you can say, well, what's 1/3 of 12? That'd be 12 divided by 3, which is 4. So 2/3 would be 8. Now, if I want the y by itself, all I have to do is get rid of this 1. Now, be careful when you do that. This is really a negative 8 and a negative 1, which would be a negative 9. Right? So I said at the very end, I would probably recommend that you rewrite this with the y first. So I would just flip both sides of the equal sign around and just say, instead of 2/3 x minus 9 equals y, just say y equals 2/3 x minus 9. Just flip-flopping sides. In number 5, we're going to do some distribution here. Notice the negative in front of the y. We have to be careful there. So I have 3x equals negative 80. And remember, this is really a negative 1y times that negative 8 would be a positive 8y. So getting things away from the y, I would start by getting rid of this 80. And again, those two things do not match. That's not an 83x. That's just going to be 3x plus 80, kind of squished there, equals 8y. But I don't want 8y. I just want y. So everything has to be divided by 8, including the 3x. And again, I know that that can look a little bit strange at first if you're not used to thinking about this in terms of slope-intercept form. But 3x over 8, that's really just 3/8 x plus 10 equals y. I can put the y first. And number 6, multiplying by a negative 1/5. I would have a negative 1/5 x, and then a negative 1/5 times a negative 10. So we'll have a negative times negative is a positive, and 1/5 of 10 is like 10 divided by 5, which is just a 2. And since I want the y by itself, I have to subtract 2. Now, when I do this, it might look confusing. I want you to know that this is the 2 that I'm worried about. When I subtract 2 over here, it happens to also get rid of that one because positive 2 minus 2, that would just be gone. So what I have is a negative 1/5 x equals y, or y equals negative 1/5 x. Now, if we were getting farther into the actual graphing with this, we could put a plus 0 there for the y-intercept. For number 7, trying to get the y by itself again, I would suggest that we do keep, change, change. Let's get rid of this 8. So I'll have 2x minus 8 equals negative 4y. And then again, we don't want a negative 4y, we just want y. So I would want to divide, divide, and divide. So 2 divided by negative 4, we know that's a negative, and 2 over 4 would simplify to 1/2. So this is really a negative 1/2 x. Negative 8 divided by negative 4 is positive 2. So then let me just put the y first. In number 8, we have some a different looking equation because we have 3 terms on the left side and only that regular 25 is over on the right hand side. I tend to start by moving my x away. However, if you want to, you could certainly get rid of this 1 first. So we could subtract 1 on my answer key. I move the 6x first, but it doesn't really matter which one we move first. Negative 4y minus 6x equals 24. Now, I would want to get rid of that subtracting 6x. So I would add 6x. And again, those two things do not match. So I'll have a negative 4y equals 6x plus 24. And then divide, divide, divide. 6 over negative 4. We know that's going to be a fraction. I know it's going to be negative because they're different signs. 6 over 4 could simplify to 3 over 2. And positive 24 divided by negative 4 would be a negative 6. All right, these last two problems, rather long, I understand. And for number 9, you can see that you've got x's and y's and constants on both sides. I think for right now, I'm going to try to take this one step at a time, nice and slow, so you can see what's happening. But I can also see that some people would want to take care of multiple things at the same time. I'm going to start by getting all of my y's onto the left-hand side. So I'm going to subtract the 2y that's over here, which gives me 4y plus 6x minus 6 equals 6 minus 6x. So we've got a whole bunch of 6's, and I can see that some people might want to just say, oh, they're just going to cancel out, but they don't really. Next, let's get all of our x's onto the right-hand side. So I'm going to get rid of this adding 6x by subtracting 6x. And again, those two do not cancel out. What I have right now is 4y minus 6. I guess I'm going to leave that 6 where it is for the moment. It's not where we want it at the end, but this is really a negative 6x, and another negative 6x would be a negative 12x. And then to get rid of the 6, I would add 6, add 6. So I have 4y equals 12 minus 12x. And I don't want 4y. I just want y. So we're going to divide, divide, divide. I'm hoping that maybe you'd be okay flip-flopping these two things right now. This is really a negative 12x divided by 4 would be a negative 3x. I'm going to put that first. And 12 divided by 4 would be a positive 3. On the last problem, I've got two distributions, and one of the distributions is really a negative 1 that we have to take care of. So when I'm not going to draw my vertical line because my problem is really kind of squished to the side of the screen right here. I will have 16x plus 16 plus negative 2y. Negative 1 times a negative 6 would be a positive 6 equals 30. And I guess I would still take a step to just simplify this side. For instance, this 16 and this 6, they match. They could go together. So I've got 16x. Let me put the negative 2y next, and then plus 22 equals 30. And again, on my answer key, I moved the 16x at this point, but I could see wanting to move this 22 first if you'd like to do that to get all of your constants together. So I've got 16x minus 2y equals 30 minus 22 is just 8. Next, I would want to get rid of my 16x. So I have negative 2y equals, I would write the thing with the x first. So I've got a negative 16x plus 8. And then we divide, divide, divide. So y equals positive 8x because they're the same signs. And 8 divided by negative 2 would be a negative 4. Now, that is the entire worksheet. We don't have a separate learning check today. So what we would like you to do at this point is make sure that if you have any missing assignments, check Skyward, check Schoology, see if there's anything that you're falling behind on. Take some time and try to get caught up on that. Know that when we come back for our next lesson, we're going to be continuing to work with Slope-Intercept Form, getting Slope-Intercept Form, graphing in Slope-Intercept Form. So if there's any of this work that confused you, please reach out. Let us know if you need any help. Have a good day.